sweat was probably a short-term thing. Has it turned into a longer-term thing?
No, I mean, when you talk about short-term versus long-term, whether it's a week or 2 weeks or 3, that's kind of how, at this point, what it is. He'll be ready and available for the start training camp for sure. Should be out here maybe next week, we'll see, but it's still considered a short-term.
It's also the year 2 jump, especially for a quarterback, and is it altered any by the fact that you're putting in a new system?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of improvement that happens when players go from their first to second year, and maybe it might not be necessarily a statistical jump either. They just become so much more comfortable playing the game. There's so much more around them that they're aware of. There's so much more. They're more comfortable in their system, the techniques that are asked, and then what it feels like to play. There's always a big jump, I think, from year 1 to year 2, just like there is sometimes in the season where, you know, that first or second week to that third or fourth week looks a lot different sometimes. So I believe in it. I think there's something to that just because of the experience that they gain from year 1 to year 2. And the system probably, you know, may limit it just a bit because you're not jumping from year 1 to year 2 with the same techniques and coaching, so there might be a little give and take there. But yeah, I think there's a huge improvement usually from the first year to the second year.
Has it been tougher than you expected to get a read defensively with so many of the guys missing or injured or out?
Not really. I think I got a pretty good feel for what we are on defense. The guys that are here and practicing, we got a great feel for. Some of the guys that are still returning to play, I kind of know what those guys are about too. So what it looks like together, I'm anxious to see it, but I got a pretty good feel for what I think we're capable of on defense.
Bill mentioned that.
You see Sadiq's strength and power. Those things do show up. His athleticism, and he's learning a lot of new techniques as well. So that's been fun to see him grow. You see him starting to take the next step, kind of as the days have gone by here. So been good to see from him. So there's a lot to like about Sadiq, and he's got some experience playing as well. So you hope that he's another guy that can really ascend as he learns more and more.
We've seen or heard rave reviews about Treylon from you and guys on our room, guys in the corner room, but we also see him working today as a gunner. If he winds up 4th in line at the position, no matter how good he is he going to have to contribute on special teams, and what can he do there?
Absolutely, he's going to have to contribute. You know, you only get so many hats on game day, and if he's one of those guys on game day, we're going to have to find a place for him because those special teams, guys like him should be great special teams players on top of it just because of his size and speed. And so the gunner thing is something I think he's very capable of doing. There might be some more roles for him in the other phases as well. But yeah, anytime you're not the full-time starter, you're going to have to contribute somewhere on game day. And I think Trey's attitude and approach to special teams has been fantastic. And so I'm excited to see what he can do for him. I think he's an asset on special teams.
Is Farley another guy?
Like, does it change who you put back there as far as like the skill set, and at what point are you guys as far as in strategizing how you're going to approach it?
Yeah, Colt's doing a really good job of researching and playing with different lineups and combinations of what that might look like. We don't know yet. That's the hard part. Is there's a lot of unknowns, and I think there'll be a little bit of chaos in the preseason with it, just in terms of everybody trying different things. So yeah, there's a lot of different lineups and personnels that you can mess around with and see what might work. Again, we won't really know until we see it live in an NFL game, but there's some opportunities for some different guys to do things in that particular phase of the special teams.
I've heard some people refer to that as like an additional offensive play. So that being said, does that change? Like you mentioned, guys who are non-starters, mandatory playing special teams. But does that change where you have the potential to put a starter back there?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you'll see a lot of guys. I think you'll see some running backs back there around the league. You'll see some designated returners. You'll see a different style of returner than maybe the traditional kickoff returner. You might see guys that are better with the ball in their hands and maybe aren't returners in the sense that they're the punt returner or the kickoff returner. There's a little bit more flexibility for the play because it's going to be so unique and shorter distance and shorter coverage, and the ball's going to get in their hands quicker. So there's definitely places for guys that maybe not in the past would be your traditional kick returner that they're a starting running back or receiver, or they have some skill with the ball in their hand and they have a chance to maybe make an impact there.
Is that a spot where Mr. Treylon could do other things? That the intentional spot you look at him as a returner?
Sure. Yeah, there's absolutely. Big and strong and fast, and there's a chance that if we can get more reps of it and see him do it, there's certainly an opportunity there for him.
You know, we've seen the kind of weapons you guys have on the outside, the attention that they're going to get. I I mean, just in terms of creativity, like what you guys can potentially do with them because of that attention going to the receivers.
Yeah, there's you end up getting a lot of one-on-ones, which is, you know, ultimately what the NFL in most passing situations is can you win the one-on-one matchup, and it doesn't necessarily have to mean a wide receiver on a corner. Those one-on-ones can be tight ends on safeties, or tight ends on linebackers, or backs on linebackers. Those are the ones, the matchups that you try to exploit. You try to find whatever matchup you can find that is to your advantage. And a lot of times when you have backs like those two guys, they're going to be the matchup advantage against linebackers most of the time. So you try to find every which way you can to put them in that space so they can go beat what is likely a lesser athlete. And they both have the ability to do it. And so as we get closer to game planning and less installing of the system, now we have a chance to be a little more free and creative with how we deploy them in the formation and use them against players that we think they can go beat.
What have you seen from?
Yeah, it's pretty cool, isn't it?
Nice to see him get recognized for what he's done over the years.
That was pretty cool. He, to be recognized for a Lifetime Achievement Award, I think in any field is a pretty tremendous honor. It's one that I don't think he takes lightly, but it's cool for me to be able to tell that to him. But yeah, he's certainly deserving of it. I mean, what he's done over his career and the players he's helped along the way, you know, one, become really good players, and two, make a lot of money, and that's ultimately what you want to do as a coach, is put those guys in position to have success. And really cool moment for him to be able to offensive line coaches don't get honored very often like that. And so it's very deserving and proud of him. It's pretty cool.
Did you
Pretty
tell
cool for him.
him that in like a private setting, or is that?
No, I told him that we broke the team down.
Okay. What was the reaction?
Well, he was talking about whatever happened the last play before we brought it up, and so he didn't even hear me. I told the team that he wins this award, and I look over and he's talking to Scott, and he kind of looks at me like, "What did I miss?" And I was like, "Come on over here. We need you." So he said a couple brief words and just was thankful for the honor. But yeah, he was kind of in full coach mode and didn't really understand what I was telling him in the moment. So everyone's cheering for him, and he's looking at me like, "What is going on?"
Can you help us understand the limitations on the?
And so I'm well aware of what he can bring to the table. He's a really, really good football player. I love his energy. I love the way he bounces around. I had to slow him down in our walk-through period there for a minute. He was flying. But I just have a ton of respect for what he's done. He's incredibly smart. He really studies football, and he's got the physical tools and talent to match it. And so I think it's a pretty formidable pairing with Arden and Harold on the edges. Those guys have played some pretty good football for a while now. So it's good to have him back in the building and have him around some too, which has been great.
That was a award.
Yeah, he's got a ways to go, like all the rookies do. There's a lot of learning in place. He's obviously switching positions too, from a safety in college into a linebacker spot, and we think he's got a chance to make that transition and be a pretty good linebacker. The way those linebackers are in the NFL now, they're all lighter and faster. A lot of them are converted, kind of big safeties. They convert into linebacker spots. So it's a unique developmental angle to take on a guy like him, and I think he's got the traits to make that switch and potentially be an impact player for us as a linebacker down the road. And again, he's going to have to make it on special teams too. That'll be an important part for him as well.
You mentioned Lane.
That's been great. I think one of the things I enjoy about Will is he's incredibly coachable. He's got a great perspective, and he's got great awareness of his body mechanics. Some guys, it's a natural thing; they just feel what you're coaching, and he's done a great job. I think he sees the benefit in his mechanical improvement and his accuracy. I've been really pleased with how much he's taken and translated into actually doing it, which has been fun to watch.
He's kind of taken command, especially in calling out what Denard wanted to see today.
Really pleased with where Gibbs at. He's got a little bit of experience behind him now. He's incredibly smart. I think the way he asks the question is the best way that you see command from him, which is what you need from that spot. And he knows what to do. He knows how to get guys lined up. He's got a little bit of experience now, and so a player like him has a lot of value. And he's been a pleasant surprise as he's taken a leadership role in that room and been able to take over a little more of the communication part as well. Obviously, because Kenneth is not in every rep right now because of the return to play process. So it's a chance for him to really take hold of it, and he has. He's done a really nice job.
What about
Harold?